Hi, I'm Olivia, a 33-year-old teacher with a passion that extends beyond the classroom: vintage cars. My grandmother, who was as much a gearhead as she was a guiding light in my life, left me something that meant the world to both of us. Walking into the garage always brought a wave of nostalgia. Each car told a story of past road trips and shared laughter. The roar of the engines seemed to echo through time. This collection, now mine, wasn't just metal and rubber. It was the embodiment of freedom and the foundation of my future ambitions. Each car, polished to a gleaming shine, stood ready to fuel the dreams my grandmother once shared with me. "You're going to do great things, Olivia," she would say, her hands wrapped around a steaming mug of coffee. The garage lights cast shadows around us, whispering of the past. The plan was simple but full of promise. Sell the collection and start a business. A community hub, not just a school, where people could come to learn, grow, and connect. That's what she would have wanted. It wasn't just an investment, it was a legacy. As I sorted through the paperwork for the sales, each signature felt like a silent promise to her. The noise of the city faded, replaced by memories of her lessons about both cars and life. "Just remember, these cars are like people," her voice echoed in my mind. "They each have their quirks and stories. Treat them right, and they'll show you the world." The dream was in motion. At least that's what I thought. But the road ahead was about to take a sharp turn, thanks to Ryan, my husband, who had his own plans. Plans that didn't consider the promises I'd made to the woman who gave me so much. "Family comes first, Olivia," he would often remind me, his voice firm but reassuring. But whose family? And at what cost? The day I walked into the garage to find it empty, it felt like the ground beneath me had vanished. The cars, my dreams, my promises, all gone in what seemed like a twisted daylight heist. As I stood there, the reality of the missing cars began to sink in. When Ryan walked through the door that evening, his face didn't carry the guilt you'd expect from someone who had just dismantled a dream. "Why did you do it, Ryan? Where are the cars?" The sharpness in my voice startled even me. "They're gone, Olivia. I sold them," he said, as if declaring something trivial. "We needed the money for Megan's wedding. It's important to her, important to all of us." "That was for our future, Ryan. How could you make such a decision without even talking to me?" My voice cracked as anger and hurt swirled inside me. "Come on, Olivia. Don't be like that. Family comes first. You know this. Megan has been dreaming of this day her whole life." "Megan's dreams at the expense of mine? Is that how family works for you?" The coldness in my voice was new, born of betrayal. "Olivia, you're being unreasonable and selfish. Think about the family," he deflected, only adding fuel to my growing resolve. "And what am I then, Ryan? Just someone you can take from to please your sister." The room grew colder with each word as the argument spiraled. His defense became more about justifying his decisions than addressing the betrayal. "I did what I had to do for my family. You're my wife, Olivia. You should understand and support me." "Support you? In what?" "This decision." I snapped. "You've made it clear that my dreams don't matter." Unable to face the consequences of what he had done, Ryan grabbed his coat. "I can't deal with this right now," he muttered, heading for the door. "I'm going to stay with my parents." As the door slammed shut, the finality of it echoed the shattering trust between us. Alone in the empty garage, the weight of his betrayal sank in. I slid to the floor, my mind racing through every cherished memory tied to those cars and my grandmother's legacy. But in that moment of despair, a resolve hardened within me. This wasn't just a financial betrayal, it was personal, and it demanded action. The next morning, I called a lawyer, my voice steady. But cold, I said, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions within me. "I need to discuss divorce proceedings, and I need to know how to protect myself financially from further damage." The lawyer's calm demeanor was a balm to my turmoil. "We'll take everything step by step, Olivia. First, let's secure your financial assets, then we'll discuss your options moving forward." As I hung up the phone, the path ahead felt anything but clear. But one thing was certain. I was going to fight for what was rightfully mine, with every resource I had. This wasn't just about a divorce anymore. It was about reclaiming my life, my dreams. While Ryan was away, the silence of our home gave me too much room to think. Compelled by a gnawing suspicion, I began sifting through our financial documents, something Ryan had always conveniently handled. What I found was worse than the empty garage. Overdue bills and credit card statements, each marked with glaring warnings, lay scattered across the table. Beneath a stack of junk mail, I uncovered the most damning evidence: a bank statement showing massive transfers to an unfamiliar account. My heart raced. I could hardly breathe. He didn't just betray me, he's endangered our entire future. I whispered, the walls of our home suddenly feeling like a cage built from his lies. Gathering the documents, I made another call to my lawyer. My hands trembled, but my voice was firm. I found more. It's worse than I thought. Document everything, Olivia, my lawyer advised. We'll need all of this. Are you safe? Should we discuss protective measures? I'm alone. He's staying at his parents' house, I replied. But yes, let's ensure he can't do more damage. The next day, we met in person. The lawyer's office was stark and impersonal, a stark contrast to the turmoil of my emotions. But it was a sanctuary where I could lay out the truth. We need to freeze your joint accounts and credit lines immediately, my lawyer said, tapping away on a keyboard. And I recommend we start the divorce proceedings as soon as possible. Based on what you've told me and the evidence you've provided, we have a strong case for financial misconduct. I nodded, the reality settling in. What about the cars? Is there any way to get them back, or at least get compensated for them? We can certainly include that in the settlement. It's clear that the sale wasn't just about the wedding. It was likely to stabilize his own financial mess. The lawyer replied, the tone clinical but not without empathy. That's just it, isn't it? I said bitterly. He sold my future to patch up his past. Yes, and we're going to address that. You're taking the right steps, Olivia. Protecting yourself now is paramount. The discussion turned to legal terms, procedures, and financial strategies. Each word spoken in that office fortified my resolve. This wasn't just about ending a marriage, it was about ensuring that Ryan's betrayal wouldn't define me. I want to ensure he doesn't benefit from my future successes either, I said firmly. Whatever business I build, it's going to be mine alone. We'll make sure of that, the lawyer reassured me. I'll draft a separation agreement that protects your future earnings. As I left the office, my emotions were a whirlwind. The road ahead was daunting, but for the first time in what felt like forever, I was taking control of my life, no longer dictated by Ryan's deceptions. During the months of separation, my focus shifted entirely to my career and the business I had always dreamed of. Turning pain into motivation wasn't easy, but each step forward brought me closer to the life I deserved. One afternoon, I sat across from my business mentor, Samantha, in a bustling coffee shop. Papers covered in logos, potential locations, and marketing plans were spread out between us. Olivia, the key is to start lean. Focus on what makes your educational program unique, then build from there, Samantha advised, scanning my business proposal. I know it's risky, especially with everything going on. But I feel like it's now or never, I replied, sipping my coffee. I want to build something that's mine, something untouched by chaos. Let's talk funding, Samantha suggested. Have you thought about a small business loan or even crowdfunding? People love to support causes they can connect with, especially in education. I've saved some, and with the divorce settlement, I should be able to get enough to help, I said, feeling a mix of hesitance and hope. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Securing a loan, finding the perfect location in the heart of the city, and hiring a team that shared my vision were all challenging, but exhilarating. There were days when the obstacles felt overwhelming. On one particularly rough day, I was on the phone with our supplier, who had delayed our educational materials. We need those materials before the semester starts, or we won't be able to launch, I explained, the frustration evident in my voice. I assure you, Olivia, we're doing everything we can. I'll personally see to it that your shipment is prioritized, the supplier promised. Despite the setbacks, the day we opened our doors to the community was a triumph. Watching students walk in eager to learn felt like the beginning of a new chapter in my life. As the business began to flourish, so did my sense of self-worth. The community embraced the educational center, and word of mouth spread, filling our classes beyond expectations. Then the call came. The final divorce papers were ready to be signed. Sitting in my lawyer's office, the pen felt heavy in my hand. The decision felt light. I signed each page with a sense of finality and freedom. Congratulations, Olivia. You're officially moving on, my lawyer said, handing me the last of the paperwork. Walking out of the office, I felt a surge of relief and excitement. The business was thriving, and for the first time in a long while, so was I. I had turned the end of one chapter of my life into the beginning of another, built not on shared dreams, but on my own, forged through resilience and newfound independence. The buzz of success filled the air at the educational center, now a beacon in the community for those eager to learn and grow. But just as things seemed to settle into a rhythm of accomplishment, Ryan resurfaced with demands that threatened to disrupt the peace I had fought so hard to create. One afternoon, as I reviewed class schedules and teacher feedback, my phone rang with a number I hadn't seen in months. "Olivia, it's Ryan. I've been hearing about your success, and I think it's only fair we discuss my share." His voice came through, a blend of desperation and entitlement. "Your share?" I responded, gripping the phone tightly. "Ryan, you have no claim to this. Everything here was built after our separation, with no ties to you or our past finances. But we were still married when you started planning this, Olivia. Doesn't that count for something?" he argued, grasping at straws. "It doesn't. And you know that. My lawyer made sure of it when we finalized the divorce. Everything was separated cleanly and legally," I replied, my voice steady, reflecting the legal safeguards I had put in place to protect my business. "I need this, Olivia. Things haven't been great since the divorce." Ryan's voice cracked under the weight of his financial strain. "Maybe you should have thought about that before you sold my grandmother's cars and lied about it." "I've moved on, Ryan, and I suggest you do the same," I said, ending the call with a finality that mirrored my resolve. Later that week, I met with my lawyer to ensure all legal protections were still intact. "Olivia, the separation agreement was very clear. He has no legal ground to claim any part of your business or future earnings. Everything is locked down tight," my lawyer reassured me, handing over a copy of the document for my records. "Thank you. I just needed to hear that again, especially now," I replied, feeling the weight of the past trying to claw its way back into my present. As I walked through the bustling halls of my center, watching the lively interactions between students and staff, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here, the betrayal, the struggle, the rise. It had all led to a life built on my own terms, guided by my integrity and my dreams.